Welcome to the sew along for the Henrietta one piece, a beginner project from Madeline's new book, Sew Lingerie. It isn't always the case, but many times swim projects are an easy and quick DIY, and that's what I love about the Henrietta. It is super quick, super easy, and this is probably going to be one of the quickest sew-alongs for the book. So before we get into sewing, let's make sure that you have everything cut out correctly. For all pieces, the front bodice, the back bodice, the front bottom, and the back bottom, it is one layer of Lycra lined with one layer of stretch mesh. If you are full busted, D cup or larger, I recommend using a power net for the front. It will give you more support. I also want to call out that on the front bodice, the surplice is designed to go from. I also wanted to call out that the way the pattern was designed is that the surplice goes from one shoulder to the opposite side seam, the other shoulder to the opposite side seam. But if you want less coverage, you can make that surplice come, let's just say, to like mid front bodice, which I've done here. So for this sew along, the surplice doesn't go all the way to the opposing side seam, but the construction is exactly the same. So for the back, you have one layer of Lycra for the main fabric and then one layer of the stretch mesh as the lining. Both of them were spray basted together, so I will be treating them as one for all the construction steps. The first step in sewing the Henrietta one piece is to sew the fronts to the back on top portion as well as the one piece bottom portion. Straight stitch, coordinate seam allowance, back stitch at the beginning and the end. Do this for the bodice as well as the panty portion. So the next step is to sew the rubber elastic along the neckline edges, along the armhole edges, as well as the leg openings on the one-piece bottom. Really easy step. And if you don't have a serger, you can just do a zigzag stitch, but you're gonna lay it on the wrong side so that the edge of the rubber elastic is aligned with the edge of the fabric. And you're just gonna serge it. You don't really wanna give it too much tension, just a little bit of tension when sewing it. Sewed the rubber elastic to the edges. Now I'm going to fold it back and sew a zigzag stitch about the width of the rubber elastic. Once I've done that, I will sew the side seams on the bodice or the top portion of the one piece. Straight stitch, back stitch at beginning and end. Rubber elastic has been sewn down. I sewed the side seam. The last step is to sew the one-piece top to the one-piece bottom at the waistline. Now, because my surplice for the sew along doesn't go all the way to the side seam, it will only overlap about 2 inches. So it's gonna look different than what yours might look like, but the sewing is the same. Henrietta one piece is finished. The last step was to sew a zigzag stitch to attach the left and right where they overlapped. I just went right over my previous zigzag stitch, as well as to sew down the seam allowance that is in between where the two back pieces meet, or they don't meet at the back. So there is a gap between the two left and right.